Hi, good afternoon. Joe here at Wooliecottage. Lunchtime chat, we're calling this from now on, because Wednesday seems to be the day that people have got a bit of time. So Wednesday lunchtime chat. I'll just wait here, see if anybody turns up. It's a little bit late. I did put a notification on my Instagram to say what time I'd be here today, and it's still uploading onto Instagram, and that was done at 11:45. So I will give it a little bit of time. What I was going to do, would you like new paraphernalia grids on my wall, because I just couldn't find my desk some days. So now I know where all my scissors are, and all my little nicks and knacks and bits and bobs, and my little hat, and I've got my drop spindles hanging from there as well, my Turkish spindle, and which that way there, and my other larger spindles, my Malay spindle. What else have I got there? My notebooks, my cards, my candle, some bobbins hanging down, and on the other shelf all my drawing and arts side on that one with me big glass of paintbrushes and pens and pencils and sketching stuff. So yeah, so there we have it, my little bits and pieces. That's what I've been doing this morning. I've got a big shelf to go up on that wall as well. I'll put all my reference books on, and on books that I like to read. So yeah, I've got to get that done. Phil's just having his lunch before I can get my shelf up on the wall. Hiya, Bridie. Look, I've got space for putting stuff on. So yeah, those were £10. Those two together in one box was a tenner out of Wilkinson's. So I got two. So yeah, I know. Got quite a lot in it actually. You get 2 wall brackets. You even get the hooks to go with it to hang them up. You get a pack of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5 or 6. I've filled it already, Bridie. It's already filled. Can't fit anything else on it, love. It comes with about 5 or 6 butcher's hooks to hang stuff off, and it comes with a small shelf bracket, a large basket bracket, another shelf thing with little hooks on it. A book holder that's at the top, so it's actually holding my books and my pattern book there as well. Yeah, so you get quite a bit in it, and a pack of wooden pegs as well for holding the letters in. So I've got some of my cards that I had in to my batty clubs and stuff in there. So yeah. Oh, Bridie, just checked, your batty clubs ran out this month, so if you want to renew it, let me know. So you just had your last order through, love. So while I've got a year, because I was going to message you, but you're here, so I'll let you know now. You just had your last month of batty clubs. So I was going to get my drop spindles out today. So I'm just waiting to see if Anne turns up, or if Elizabeth turns up from Crafty Green Fingers, because she wanted me to do drop spindling today. As I say, check your bank balance. Yeah, check your bank balance. I've got my daughter's 21st birthday, so I've just had to take money out my PayPal to put money aside for her. And on the same day, I've got my eldest grandson's 4th birthday on Monday. So that's 20 quid out. And then I've got my credit card to pay off this Friday. So, and it feels away next week, next Thursday to the following Tuesday. So I'm trying to work out what I've got to do for next week before he goes away. I've got to do a double shopping. It's just one thing after another. When he goes away, it's like, right, what do I need to do? Because I'm stranded at home, and if I do want to go to town, especially if I've got any orders the end of next week, then I've got to walk it. I hate using the bus. I really can't stand using the bus. I would rather walk 3 miles into town, and then if I have to, get a bus back. So yeah, I might end up having to do that at some point next week if I end up with any orders. I'm not putting any bats on the website next week, but I'll get some rovings dyed up, some nice pretty blended rovings, and I'll get them on the website on Monday. It saves me time having to blend, because I'm not showing you that side of the room, all the Christmas bats, the big versions ready to split, are all done, bar one. I've got to do that, and I've still got to do the Christmas Day one, but I've got to dye up for that anyway and decide how I want my colours to sit out. So yeah, I've still got 13 Christmas Day 100 gram bats to do. Hiya, Anne. You're not late, sweetie. I've only been here 5 minutes, sweet. I'm late today. I was doing some bits and pieces and had to rush into town. And yesterday, what a palaver. Our post office has been a nightmare for months now. Oi! Right! What are you arguing for? Arguing over a bone? I've just given them bones because Scardy's got into this phase at the moment of wanting to chew table legs and chair legs. It does look a bit tidy, doesn't it, Anne? Wilkinson's in the home department. They've got these boxes. I'll show you the box. So just in case, it comes in handy for your craft room. There you go. Wilkinson's wire wall. So you get the 2 shelves and all those bits and pieces, a book holder and hooks and paper hooks and this weird thing over here with hooks on it and little baskets and stuff like that. So you get 2 of those. So we took it to the till to go see how much it was. I think it'd be about 18-20 quid. A tenner. So Phil sent me charging right up to the back of the shop to go and get another one. So I had 2. So yeah, it's safe because at the moment I am organised. But sometimes it feels like I've got nowhere to put anything away. So like I've got all my scissors. For some reason, my fabric scissors are in the bathroom. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But they've been sat on the shelf in the bathroom for the last month. Can't even remember taking them in there myself, to be fair. So I've got my drop spindles all hanging off them because they were just, yeah, a tenner. And you get literally that in one. And it comes with a little plastic, the 3-pronged plastic hooks that you just put into the wall straight away. Well, it's not 3. It's 4 really sharp nails in the back of it, so they'll go into anything. And my chimney, this is my chimney breast, and it's really, you can't get a screw into this wall. It's a 130-year-old red brick that's an absolute nightmare. So once you get through the plaster, it just drills and drills and drills, and you end up with a bigger hole than what you started off with. So you end up having to put a raw plug in with no-nails glue wrapped around it so it doesn't come out the wall. It's ridiculous. So yeah, so next week I'm just going to be doing die drovings on the website. I might have a little play around with sticks and rollags on the website because I haven't done them for ages. My only issue with rollags is if they don't sell, then I can't recycle them. I can't make them into something else. And my hand spun yarn never sells, so I don't see the point of doing that. So it's always a bit of shall I, shan't I, which is the reason why I don't really do rollags anymore. But I might do some. We'll see how I feel, because I've got to start separating and filming the Christmas advents. So I've got to start doing that next week. As well as that, I need to get my stairs and landing finished off decorating. So I'm just waiting for Phil to one day after work this week just get that top bit textured wall paint done, and then I can wallpaper the rest of the stairs on my own while he's away next weekend. So it's just I'm just trying to get other jobs done that I need to do. My house is filthy, it needs scrubbed, so I've got to do that as well. So it was a deliberation between taking a week off or just getting some rovings dyed up while I'm doing the last of the locks for the Christmas advents, and then just stick them on the website. And if they don't sell, then I'll just blend them up for the following week and stick the bats from them on the website. So that's what I'm going with. Yeah, post office. Forgot. Post office has been a nightmare. Our post office is an absolute nightmare. They either close for lunch, but they don't tell you the day before that they're going to close for lunch. So you get there and you have to either stand there for 15 minutes waiting for someone to turn back up and open up the post office. Or, like yesterday, got there with 9 parcels, with batty clubs included, and 3 orders. And the post office has been closed all day due to short staff. They've got 3 members of staff in there. One went away, but she came back. The manager went on holiday in August and then put in a sick note and then handed his notice and hasn't come back. So so if one takes a day off, the other one decides that she's not coming in neither. It's ridiculous. All you want to do is get to the post office. So we had to go on a mini mission to the next village over and go to the post office there. And there was only 1 member of staff in there. So it was a bit of a nightmare. Right. Drop the spindles. So I was having a little play with this the other day. my little lace weight one. Those roll lags that I made up. Now, you ladies that are here, you know how to do your drop spindle, and you haven't got any problems with drop spindles, have you? So, I think it was Elizabeth Chappell that was a bit thingy, saying that she can't quite get the knack of spinning with a drop spindle. Do you know, well, as soon as I figured out what it was that I needed to do, I was off. You just can't get it at all. In which way? Because I always say, if anybody ever comes to me that are felters, when they come to the shop, I say the shop, when they come to buy something from me, and I'd love to learn how to spin, and I always pull out the drop spindles and say, look, here, have a go. Well, see, I just find it dead easy. I think it's the best way to start is using a drop spindle, because then I get my jumper stuck on it. Because I think you can see the mechanics of everything that you need to do to get going on spinning, because it's all there in front of you. You can see the energy going up the fibre. So what I'll do, so neither one of you just can't get the gist of what it is that you need to do, or is it more to do with the drafting side of things? Because if that's the case, I'll move the camera down there to the table and I'll sit on the sofa, and then you can see up close what it is that I'm doing, which is probably the best option. And I'll do it on a different spindle. I'll do it on my larger one. I'll have to take this off. If I do it on my larger one, right, so if you crash the spindle every time. See, I just find it dead easy. This is the one that I learned to spin on. Now, I say try a medium weight spindle. Now, to be fair, I bought this without any knowledge of what the weights meant. I could do art yarn on this one. This is, I think, I'll weigh it in a minute, but I'm absolutely positive it is a... Why's that got that on there? I have no idea. What's going on with this? Right, I'm just going to pull all that off, if I can. Bit easier than winding it up. I always say try and go for a 45. This is a mid-weight spindle. It's not too heavy for you to learn. Is it the park and drive that you're having issues, or is it just getting the momentum of the spin, or is it the drafting? I do have a really little tiny video that I posted years ago on my Instagram before it became a household name. Right, come on. It's so much easier if I just take this. This wool has been on here so long, and it's so much easier just to cut it all off. And then I will move the camera over, and then you can tell me what it is that you're having issues with. I just think it's dead easy. But that's all right, me saying it, because some people just don't get the gist, do they? Which is fair enough. Some people don't like spinning wheels. They prefer to do it all on a spindle. Come on. No, it doesn't want to come off. Oh. Right, so you obviously know when you're spinning on a spinning wheel, you've got to have, they say you create a triangle, yeah, but what you want to do is not have too big a clump of wool in your hand. I think using a roll lag is a really good idea to get started, because not only are you holding just a small weight of fibre in your hand, you're also what's the words I'm looking for? I'm concentrating, you see. You're also getting an instant impact from a roll lag when you're spinning it, because you can see the colours coming through, and you're getting an instant satisfaction from it, and it makes you just want to do that little bit harder in spinning it. Oh, do you know, when you start something, you're like, I should have just wound it off. You want a spindle that's been really well made, that's got a decent balance on it so it doesn't wobble. That's another factor as well. That little Jasper one, the little lace weight one I've got, does wobble a bit. It's not too bad, but I have to make sure that when I'm drafting my fibres, that when I'm pulling, I missed that then. When I'm pulling the fibres, I'm actually getting an upright, I'm drafting upright and not at an angle. So really, like I was spinning on a spinning wheel, it's vertical, not a slight angle. Right, is this going to make any difference? Oh, here we go. So I think I'll move you over in a sec, and then you can fire off questions and I'll try and catch them. It's just taking your time. So if you're sitting down, use your knees to park and drive and draft. Just do it really, really slowly. I find it easier to stand when I'm using my drop spindle. I'll be here forever. I find it easier standing or sitting on my high chair to do my spinning, because I can get a really good length on this spin. Here we go. A really good length on the spin with the weight behind it. This, I think, I'm absolutely positive it's a 50-gram spindle. Not just that, the key to it as well is using a leader thread. Let me just get my scales and just weigh out how much this weighs. Oh, right, put that on. It's saying it's 69 grams and it's just sitting off there. So that's a 70-gram drop spindle. And this is the first one that I've ever used. It's still the exact same original leader yarn on it as well from when I first got mine. So let's just get you moved over. I've got this roving here. I'm all tangled. Coming out the way. I want to move. Out. Out. I knew I should have shut the door. Stick that over there. Move my chair over so you can see what it is that I'm doing. And bring these guys over. Right. No, Iona, go away. Okay. Oh. Do you know, I put a jumper on today because it's been so chilly outside. So chilly out. Oh my giddy aunt. What are you up to? Oh, I forgot your little loom sounds like it might burn in the fire trying to save all this stuff. She's not taking any notice of us. I'm trying to. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to. Oh, I've got dogs fighting out in the landing over a flipping bone. It's ridiculous. Right, and I will catch the chats later on. I'll find them once this is uploaded. She's off on one again. Sue Mayo, thanks very much, Sue. I didn't know you were here. Hello, love. Right. So you drop spindle. I'm trying to move you to see if I can actually help. I know. Right, so I have a groove on the side of this spindle. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap it around in there. So it's wrapped. I've come round from the groove, hold it in. If you've not got a groove on it, just go and get yourself a little saw or a Stanley knife and just cut yourself a little groove in. It does help when you first get started. And then I've got two bones, but Scardy's got an issue. If she sees Iona with a teddy, she'll fight the teddy for her, and then she'll go off and pinch it, and then Iona will go and get another teddy, and Scardy wants that teddy. So there's no winning in this house. Whatever Iona's got, flipping Scardy wants it. It's a nightmare. Right, so just spin your hook round and then pull up until it sits inside your hook. Okay, yeah, honestly, it's constant calamities in this house at the moment. Right, I've got to find my thread. Where is it? Come on, split. There we go. So draft yourself a little section out from your oven and just pull it through. Okay, just like you would if you're on a spinning wheel, or if you haven't used one before and you're using your drop spindle. Okay, so it sits inside there, and then just park your spindle in your knees. Okay, flip. What's the leader yarn? It's just a basic wool or a cotton. I wouldn't say you really need anything fancy. Just a piece of cotton, a nice thick, or even a bit of twine, or even a piece of, I've been known to use even on my leader yarns, a piece of hand spun wool, and just loop it through. If you want to, on a second, just grab this. Right, so you put me on the telly again, Bridie. Your husband's going to go mental. So get yourself a piece of wool, a length of it, say about 30 centimetres long, so 45 centimetres. Fold it in half so you end up with two ends, and then tie a knot in the top of them. Then on your spindle, to get your leader yarn, you want to, why is this stuck on something else? Right, so there's the leader, and there's the end with the knot in it. Okay, so it's a length. I mean, it's longer than what I actually need, but I did it for a demonstration for somebody a couple of months ago, so I just grabbed some wool. So I've got a knot in the end. It's been folded over, and then I'm going to put the folded end around my spindle. No, it's not, it's my knotted end around my spindle. I want to pull, yeah, so I want the knot end to sit on the shaft of the spindle, and then just pull it through. Okay, so make sure your knotted end is near there, and then pull it quite tight until it sticks. Okay, and then shove it up the end underneath the whirl top, and that is really it. All you need for your leader yarn on a spindle. And if you're using a lighter drop spindle, just use a lighter yarn. You don't need to use a big heavy one. Just a nice light piece of cotton, not sewing cotton, a knitting cotton, like a merchandise cotton or something like that. So I've looped those bits through the little hole. So make a hole in the top of this like that, put that in there, and then pull it through, and I'm just gonna hold it in place. Got it on my guide line at the side of my spindle, and I'm going to turn it around and lift that up in that hook so it's in place, and I'm just going to spin it. And while I'm spinning it, you find your leader yarn break sometimes. Do you know this? I've had this drop spindle 7 years. Okay, I painted it. It's just a basic one. Scaddy, a basic one from, you've been doing it upside down. Well, there's nothing stopping you. If you've got a hook in the other end of your shaft, there's nothing stopping you from being able to do the spinning that way. But I always thought that on mine, when it came, the hook was in the top already. Scardy, love, I'm busy, baby. Stop it. Do you know what I mean? Flipping menace. So I'll just keep spinning that until I can feel the energy is now going right in the top of my yarn, the bit I've just folded over. So that's completely secure now. So what I'll do is I'll just unwind it a little bit and roll it. Okay, just so I can bring that down a little bit more. Find my guide line in my whirl, and then bring it round the back of the hook and under and through. So now, because I've got a lot of energy already in, oh God, in the yarn, from this bit that I've just spun lots, this will now whiz up into here. So now if you can see the twisting fibres, so I'm in my hand, I'm just going to twist it a little bit more, and I've got the top end pinched. Okay, so it's pinched at the top. I'm just spinning that round a little bit more. I'm going to put it in my knees. Okay, and there's my roll lag, and I'm just going to there's the triangle. So you have got a sort of triangle of fibre, but I'm not going to use that much. I'm just going to draft it about 1.5 inches and then let it travel up there. And then I'm going to just give it a little spin, and I'm going to stop it in my knees, and then I've got the pinch, and I can feel in my fingers the energy trying to push up from the twisting action into my fingers to find the rest of the wool. Now if I let go of this, I'm just going to pull it out the tiniest inch, and there you go. Look, it's tightened up already, and you've got a really good decent twist in there. And if I was to put it together, that you've ended up with a ply on yarn, and that's nice and gentle. There's not too much energy in that. I can bend it around, and it's not overly spun. Okay, so just pull that out, and I'm going to spin that again a little bit, just using the inside of my knee, and again draft out my fibres and let it run up into that yarn, and give it another spin and park it. And I'm going to pull again just a little bit. It's not even an inch and a half of fibre drafted out from the roll lag, and once again I'm just going to let go of the spindle and let that energy twist up into there. Can you see it's all twisted now? I'm going to give it another spin, and I can feel the energy going into the tip of my finger. You can feel it tightening up on the yarn. Okay, but what I'm going to do before I let go of this and let this energy go any further is I'm just going to wind this a little bit more underneath, and I'm going to start using the yarn to hook around the back, around the front and up. Now I'm just using the yarn and not the leader. Okay, so again, I've got my roll lag, it's over my arm, it's out the way. If I let it go loose, it'll end up getting stuck on this. So you just want to make sure you've got it out the way. Pardon me. And then again, I'm just going to pull that, let the energy run straight up that yarn, and then put the twist in now. Stop, park it, and draft. Okay, let the energy, I've gone a little bit further this time, but I'm going to let this energy run out from inside the yarn, and it's gone all the way up. See how that's all twisting with those colours in there now, and it's all the way through, and it's twisting. You can just make it out behind. Well, I'm going to see if I can get right. You can see the twisting, the pops, the purple that coming through. That's all the energy gone inside. Pull that through and let it go. Because I'm sitting down, I can't give the full, but if I just draft that out and then let that energy go in. So I'm just going to wind that on a little bit more until I've got about, let's see, that should do it. I've got about 5 inches on there around up my hook. Park it in my knees, or you could park it under your arm if you feel more comfortable doing that, especially if you're walking around doing it. Scardy love, watch out. So I'm going to just let that go, and you can see, you can feel the energy running straight up if you just leave it be. Then, dog, stop it. Spinning my knee. And while it's spinning now, I'm going to draft it out. There you go, the energy's going into there. There's still lots of energy in it, so I'm just going to pinch it at the top of the fingers, and that's my spindle actually stopped now. So I'm going to spin it again. Okay, and there's loads of energy going in there, so at the same time I can now draft out my fibres, knowing that the energy in that spindle will go all the way up into that yarn, and then spin again. I'm going to just ever so gently draft out my fibres. I can feel that running up there, and again. And if I was to just on a second, just get that so it all balances out and I haven't got lots of energy in it. And because it's now parked in my knee, I can keep on drafting out the roving until the energy stops twisting at the top. And if I was to bend that on each other, it should twist into a nice balanced yarn. There we go. And it's as simple as that. She says it's simple, but I know not everybody gets it. Right, so I'm going to go again. I'm going to wind on a little bit more underneath, but I'm going to start coming down the shaft as well, because sometimes that can be a bit of an issue when it comes to spinning your yarn on, because if you bulk it all up at the top of the shaft, then it starts to fill up quite a lot, and you end up with maybe only about 25 grams on your shaft of your fibre, but you've not come all the way down. Use the shaft to gather the wool. You could probably fill this to about a hand's difference at the bottom, about 3 inches at the bottom, all the way down. I could probably get about 100 grams worth of wool on this drop spindle without even trying. So I'm going to hook it into my little line at the back, bring it, so the back hook there, bring it around the back of the hook, around the front and up. Okay, so I've got my Rolex still sat on my arm. I just need to unravel that a little bit because it's starting to twist up. And there's still a little bit of energy going into that, so it's actually twisted that for me. And I'm just going to park it, spin it, park the shaft in my knee, draft out until the energy stops. So that's still spinning, that's still twisting all the way up to there. So that was 2 drafts on that. And then spin it again, let the energy build up, leave that like that until you start feeling a lot more confident that you can go further. And that's twisting. There's another 1.5 inches, and that's got a nice gentle twist in that all the way up there. Spin it. There we go. There's a lot more energy in there. So again, draft out your fibre, and you can see the spin. The fibre's wanting to go in, so I just need to lift that up straight so it stops bending back on itself. So that, from that one long spin on this way, I've ended up with another 5 inches of yarn. And again, and it's still spinning now. Because of its being a 70 gram weight, it will spin forever. And that's it. Just wind it on. Now if you find that your fibre has split like so, okay, I make sure that the fibres are sitting close to each other, and I'll pinch them like that at that point, and I will spin the fibres together, making sure that I've got most of the twist sitting in the 2 joints. One's going one way, one's going the other way, and then the energy from those 2 joints will help them bind together. So I'll see if I can get a better close-up pitch of me doing that, and then I can just carry on, and it's not going to split because all the energy is sat between that join there. So I'll try and do that again so you can see what it is that I just did. So there's still energy in the top of this yarn here, and my rovin's just snapped off. So I'll just pull that out and draft that a little bit. I will pull this and draft this a little bit, and I will lie them over the top of each other, okay, and just in my hands with a bit of control, let the energy just sit in there. And that's the join there, just a slightly thicker section, but it's fine, it's joined together. Unlike on a spinning wheel, you would come in at a different angle and spin it, but if you're just learning, that is the easiest way to join your pieces together. So you can see, on a sec, you can see there's a thicker area where the join is compared to the rest of it, but you won't notice that once it's been plied up. There we go. Put that on there and wind it back up. Simple enough. Right, is there anything that I've missed? Anything at all? If I've done something and you just want me to show you doing it again, then let me know and I will do it again. I'm just going to stand up so you can see. Just make sure that goes over my wrist so it's out the way. I'm going to draft that out. Oh, I'm going to have to join those two together because it's just split on me. There you go. I've just actually had to do that then. Just draft out my roll log a little bit, and I'm spinning. Just got in from work, so missed. You just missed it, Deborah. Right, so I'm just talking about drop spindling. Some people just say that they just can't quite get what it is that needs to be thingied. I would just say practice sitting and using park and ride. I can get a full length of nearly 4.5 foot length of yarn from using my drop spindle in my standing or sitting position on my chair. So I literally just spin all the energy into the yarn and draft while it's still spinning. See, drafting, and just do a little inch at a time, and just gives you a little bit more control. And I use the side of my thigh when I'm standing up, and it just gives a little bit more control over that yarn. Don't do big long pieces, just do about an inch and a half, and you can get a lot more control and a lot thinner. You can only do park and draft. Well, once you do, if you just do a little piece at a time, and eventually you'll be standing up and you can do the exact same thing standing, doing it. I'm still doing park and draft. I mean, I could do it in my knees and do that, and then use the side of my thigh to pass the energy through it, and then do that. That's without having to do park and draft. So I've still got lots of energy spinning through in that. That's me. I could quite easily do from this point. I'm going to do my spin. So use the side of my thigh to spin. All this energy is going up into my finger, and there's loads of energy in there now. So then I would come over, park it in my knees, and draft out until there's no energy left in that twist. That's it. And I know there's lots of energy in that twist, so just ever so gently get that going. And still energy, still spinning, still going round. I'm still getting energy inside the yarn, and then twist it. You can use your fingers, just do that, and then park it in your knees. There we go, energy all the way through, about an inch and a half, and there's still energy going up into the top of my finger. And then use my side of my leg to get going again. And I just keep going and going and going. And still spin going in that. Still spinning. And I could, if I really wanted to, go all the way up to my chin, which I'm doing, and it's still spinning. And I'm going to hold that there and then wind it on. I say a heavier weight spindle is really good if you want to get really good lengths going at the same time. And I've got more control over my drafting as well. That's how I figured it out, is with one of these. My smaller one I like to do, let me just move you over to here. My smaller one I will go and grab, because there's actually, I don't want to use all this thread. Oh, I don't want to use all this yarn on this one bobbin, because I don't use this bobbin this much. So if I get my little one, which I did have, there it is, my little one at 30 grams. I want to move. Thank you. So this is the one I've been doing the last couple of days, this one here. So I just need to draft out these fibres and spin it. So I use the side of my thigh because I can get more momentum going in it. If I'm using my fingers, I don't get much at all. But if I use the side of my thigh, and I bring, there you go, about 2 inches there, another 2 and a bit inches, another 2 and a bit inches, and that's it, just starting to unravel. And go again on the side of my thigh, and just keep going and going and going. And it's just stop spinning now. And then I use all of the shaft when I wind on, all the way up. Who made, right, I can't remember the name of the company that made this. This has actually got a crack in it. I bought this, £20, and it's not till the other day that I noticed that where they've put the hook in, there's a crack either side. But Etsy, there's loads of British sellers on Etsy that do the stone whorls in the top, and they're the lace weight ones. What's the name of her? There's one, is it Zombie Gardens or something like that? I will try and find out who she is that I bought one, and I end up gifting it to a Latvian lady I did a Christmas swap with a couple of years ago, because she'd never done it. She did. I will have to show you one day. She sent me a felted mystical mouse with it has like deer antlers and everything else, and it sits inside a glass dome that I bought with lights in it. And she'd never done any spinning before, so I sent her one of my lace weight spindles. But this one's Jasper. It's in that. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of. I'll have to ask Colette. Colette was there at the Wool pop-up show with me. She might remember who it is, but I'll find out for definite who it is. Otherwise, there's a flipping big fly in this room. There's a lady on Etsy that definitely sells them, and she does loads of different colours, loads of different types of precious stone whorls. This is definitely not the best made, and I think that's why it's got a bit of a wobble in it, because it's not flat, and there's a crack in the top of it. And if I took a piece of paper with the name of the people that I bought it from, then I'd get in touch with them and tell them that it's not flat, it's not flush, it does wobble, it's not perfect. So I will get the name of the other person, and I will message you later on, because theirs is definitely a better quality one, and definitely cheaper than £20. Theirs couldn't have gone up that much. But I just stand here and spin and spin and spin for ages, or I sit on my chair, and in between little breaks from standing doing blending, I'll just do a couple of yards while I'm sat at the table having my coffee. And I can get this one really, really, really fine. So fine, you could practically sew with it. I mean, look at that. You could technically sew with that thread. It's that fine on this one. And when you've got the little pops of texture from the Rolex that I did at the weekend on my live chat on Saturday, the textures aren't like in your face, and you're getting the tiniest little sprinkling of actual sparkles that I put in there. And then you've got the thrum from the mulberry silk that I added in that pops of coral pink. So that's what it looks like when it's been spun up, and you've got these little pops of colour just to give you a very subtle textured look to the yarn, and it's really, really pretty. I like these little ones. These are really quite nice to work with. And I just spin that through and then go again. So once you've mastered the park and ride, I think I used to find that when I first started, the park and draft or the park and ride was more awkward than me just standing up. And one day I was like, right, I need to figure this out. And because I was walking around the room, it's when we were up in the little cottage up the top of the hill, and I was walking around the room and I was doing the park and ride, and I ended up watching a lady on Instagram, not on Instagram, on Facebook, and she was standing up and doing it and walking around and everything. I was like, that looks like it might work for me. So that's what I did. So this is really the only way I do it. I like a nice distance from the floor when I'm spinning, and I like to use my leg to get my momentum in. So maybe that's what the problem is you're not getting enough energy when you're spinning the spindle to go traversing all the way up the yarn, so you can let go a little bit more. Use your thigh. Even if you're sitting down, you can use the inside of your leg. Don't use your fingers, use the inside of your leg, and see if that makes a difference with the amount of energy that's actually going through the yarn you want to spin. Because that's fine, I can get a spin with my fingers just doing a little bit, but I get more energy if I use the inside or outside of my thigh. And if you find that you've got too much energy in it, just let it spin out a little bit. Let it reverse on itself. That's not a problem at all. And there's my little triangle. So I've got about 1.5 inches there, let go, and it twings into place. And a bit more. And then that's it. And then draft down. I try and use as much of the shaft as I can when I'm winding on, so I can get more wool onto the drop spindle, instead of having lots of spindles around the place with just 3 inches of yarn sat in the top of it. And it helps keep the balance on the shaft as well. See, I'm getting a little bit, I'm getting a couple of inches out of that spinning in comparison to using my leg. And then I could probably just about so get the last of this lump done. I know I've just missed a comment then. I will catch it tomorrow and I will reply. Once I see, I'll tag your name and answer whatever it is that I just missed. And it's got lots of energy in that there. So I'll just start winding that off. And I'll literally leave a few inches at the top just to wind around my hook. And a bit more. Oh, come here. So it's all about trying to get as much energy in between each pinch that you can let go, and it will keep going. And don't worry if it starts to spin back on you, because it's not going to take much more energy out. You want to get as much energy in there. And I haven't done that much. I know I'm spinning a lot, but if you look at it on the grand scheme of things, let me just get this around this hook. Come on, in you go. Right, on the grand scheme of things, I'll just put it under my arm. The energy in that yarn, if I just twist it around to have a bit of control on it while it... Look. There's a yarn there, it's doubled over, and there's not... For the amount of spin that I've got going through it, it's not overspun at all. So about it being too much energy, it will even itself out when you ply it up. It might feel as if it's stiff when you're spinning it and you still feel like you've got a bit of energy in the top of it. That's what you're wanting anyway. You don't want to underspin it. So try using the inside or outside of your thigh. Try standing up and do the park and ride if that's what you feel comfortable with. I just find it really awkward trying to do the drafting, and then I've got to take it out, and then I've got to let it go, and then I've got to spin it. I just find it easier just to stand here, spin it off on the side of my thigh, and then go and draft while it's still spinning, and then just hold on to it, pinch it, and draft again, and draft and draft and draft and draft all the way up. It's still going now. If you think about it, when you're pushing that shaft along your thigh, it's got a further distance to go, and you can use more of your shoulder power in spinning it. Whereas with your fingers, there's only so much distance on a spin that you can go with your fingers, isn't there? Whereas on your side of your leg or the inside of your thigh, you've got more power going in. You've got a longer distance on your thigh for it to gain momentum. If that makes sense to anybody. Just think of it as physics. It's just a little bit of physics. That's all it is. So there we go. That's one. I think that's about 10 grams roll lag. Let me just weigh that little one out, because I did 2 the other day, small ones, and I've got a chunky one up here still to do. So that is 7 gram roll lag. 7 grams on that, and I would say there's about, once that's plied up, there'll be about 30 yards, maybe. And I can still get more. I could probably get all of that. Right, so that one, that's saying it's 7-8 grams, and this one is 12. You'll hunt out your spindle in the darkness of the recesses of your workroom and have a try, and get yourself some of them, and you'll never have to hunt out your drop spindles ever again, because that is my new home for my spindles. You sit up here on the hooks, I do have a Turkish spindle, which is slightly different because you can't actually put a hook in the top of that, which took me a couple of attempts, but I've definitely mastered it, and I'm looking for a kick spindle. But there's nobody in the UK that actually do them, and I'm not paying custom fees to buy one from overseas. I'd love to, but I'm not paying the money for it. So kick spindle's my next. Am I on a Wilko commission? I very rarely go into Wilko's unless I'm buying their paint, because their paint is the best. Their paint is amazing, and it's better quality than any other brand. There was one on eBay. I don't use eBay. Don't like eBay at all. Yeah, I'm not keen on eBay. I don't use them. So I always have a look on Etsy. I did try and do a Google search for it, and they just kept giving me American companies, which is no good. It is no good at all. What time are we at? Oh, 1:53. I've been on it 50 minutes. And I've got to go now shout on Phil to put up my new shelf on my wall so I can put all my books up there. And I've got loads and loads of books. Loads of books, and I got a new one the other day. I've actually had 3 new books in the space of 2 weeks, and I've got a book in my basket that Phil's going to pay for on Friday because it won't be available. It's a pre-order, and it's an Icelandic book, but it's a knitting pattern book and a travel guide at the same time. So it's in my basket waiting for Phil to pay for it, because that's my bribe for him leaving me alone for 5 days next week while he goes down to Hampshire with his mum and dad. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me today, ladies. You take care of yourselves. Maybe see you Saturday, the live chat. Next week, I will be around, but I won't be doing any video uploads next week because I've got far too much to get done. So no video uploads next week. No bats on the website, but there will be hand-dyed rovings, and I may have some new locks on there. So take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for joining me today. If I missed any questions, when this comes back up on the to watch tomorrow, I will have a hunt for the questions and I will answer you. Okay? See you later. Take care. Hope this helped a little bit. I'm not the best when it comes to teaching drop spindling because everybody's got their own way of doing things. But I will do it again if you need me to. Take care, and I'll see you later.